has a theory that Donald Trump may have contracted syphilis in the 1980s, around the time he looked like this. And Melania looked like this.
When Chelsea Handler lets loose, she doesn't just speak. She unleashes a full-scale verbal rampage that burns through every ounce of Trump's bloated bravado. There's no gentle critique here, no subtle swipe hidden in a half smile. Instead, it's an all-out take-no-prisoners roaster that leaves the president reeling from the fury of her words. This isn't just another celebrity jab or a simple diss. It's a masterful display of wit and venom, delivered with the ease of a seasoned pro who's not afraid to rip into a figure who's long been synonymous with bluster and empty catchphrases.
And well-informed, and he said stuff like this.
They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets.
The only dead pet I know about is the one on your head. Mop the f***ing floor with it.
Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison.
Why can't you just be happy you'll have somebody to date when you get to prison, girl, huh? He lied about everything. He said he knows nothing about Project 2025. He lied about the 2020 election, and he lied about IVF.
I have been a leader on fertilization.
No, you're not. That's Nick Cannon, asshole. But Trump's biggest lie was about his health care plan.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan.
I don't want a world leader with concepts of a plan.
When the moment finally came, the internet practically stopped to catch its breath. Chelsea's comment exploded across every digital platform: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. Each post a pixelated testament to her dismantling of Trump's carefully constructed facade. The words came out like a tidal wave, demolishing every hyperbolic boast and self-important claim he's ever made into irrelevant. And the spectacle? It was as epic as watching a high-octane action movie where every punchline lands with the precision of a trained assassin and the impact of 1,000 fireworks. This wasn't your average swipe. It was a full-blown performance that transformed political commentary into a blockbuster event. Imagine a stage set with the glimmer of modern media and the roar of an audience anticipating every zinger. Chelsea stepped up, her delivery crisp and unapologetic, like a maestro orchestrating a symphony of scandal and satire. Every word she uttered was layered with the kind of biting humor that left no doubt in anyone's mind. This was a woman who, when fed up with idiocy, doesn't just talk back, she roasts and sears. And then there was Trump. Picture him, deep in his echo chamber of red ties and self-aggrandizing tweets, suddenly confronted by a force of nature that he never saw coming. Instead of the usual scripted defenses, the one thing he's not accustomed to is being skillfully dismantled in real time on his own terms. Chelsea's words hit him like a sledgehammer, shattering his persona piece by piece until all that remained was a mangled caricature of the bluster he once wore as a badge of honor.
Do you ever have Donald Trump on your show?
No.
What if he asked you?
No.
What about Melania? Would you have her on your show?
Melania? What's to talk about what? She can barely speak English.
What do you think about her as the first lady?
Exactly what I think about him as the first man. Mm-hmm. Nothing. I don't respect either one of those people.
Mm-hmm. If he were here right now, what would you say to him?
Fuck off. Fuck off. I mean, gross. He is the grossest. Physically, emotionally, mentally. Those statues they made of him were accurate. I bet you that is what he looks like naked, with a little grape in between his legs.
It was as if Chelsea had taken every bombastic tweet and overblown proclamation he ever issued, tossed them into a blender of incisive commentary, and served up the pure, unadulterated truth in a dangerously refreshing cocktail. Her critique didn't just take aim at his policies or his endless parade of self-praise. It targeted the very essence of his public identity, reducing his tough guy image to a series of laughable sound bites that reverberated through every corner of the online world. In living rooms across the country, people were glued to their screens, watching as Chelsea Handler turned what could have been just another headline into a cultural moment. The clip of her roast spread like wildfire, igniting discussions in boardrooms, at cocktail parties, and even at those rare family dinners where politics and humor blend into uncomfortable yet undeniable truth. Late-night hosts scrambled to reference her latest salvo, and social media influencers reworked her words into memes that were shared millions of times.
Wondering what Donald Trump will be saying to his kids and Melania's body double sitting in his gold-plated dining room. Trump has a lot to be thankful for. On his recent trip to Asia, he got to play this super fun game of Red Rover in the Philippines with Duterte. Red Rover, stop sending Mexicans over. He He's also thankful that Melania was able to find a new friend when she was over in Beijing. It turns out she's as eloquent on Twitter as her husband. After meeting the panda, Melania tweeted, "Wonderful to met Gugu."
Every posting and retweet signaled an undeniable shift. In the battle for the narrative, Chelsea had taken control. Her words resonated far beyond the confines of a simple roast. They became a rallying cry for anyone who had ever grown tired of pompous self-importance and empty declarations. In that brief, glorious moment, humor became a weapon, and Chelsea Handler wielded it like a seasoned warrior commanding an army of digital gladiators.
We have a new president whose name is Donald Putin Trump, who the majority of Americans think is a huge fucktard.
There was a palpable sense of vindication among her fans, many of whom had long respected her unvarnished honesty and fearless critique of the establishment. For them, this wasn't just a witty put-down, it was an emblem of resistance against a culture that had, for far too long, celebrated bluster over substance. With each carefully crafted phrase, she carved out a narrative where truth was the ultimate equalizer, the great leveler that made even the most untouchable figures tremble before the power of a well-aimed joke. Even political pundits, who rarely spare a kind word for anyone daring to challenge Trump, couldn't help but acknowledge the brilliance behind her delivery.
I told Bannon and Kushner, if they don't take care of this, he will, which means he's going to go golfing and let someone else.
In the midst of echo chambers where every statement is rehashed like a looped soundbite, Chelsea's voice broke through with a refreshing reminder. Sometimes the best way to expose hypocrisy is to hold up a mirror and let the reflection speak for itself. And what did that reflection reveal? A man trapped by his own grandiosity, desperately clinging to a reputation that was rapidly disintegrating under the scrutiny of a wry, unapologetic humorist.
Tired of all the infighting. You know he hates when people fight. He absolutely hates it.
I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
I'm gonna bomb the shit out of him. Knock the crap out of him, would you? Seriously. Okay? Just knock the hell. I promise you, I will pay for the legal fees. I promise.
Yeah, throw him out. Throw him out into the cold.
Go home to mommy. Go home to mommy.
Good job.
The reverberations of that moment were felt everywhere, from the chaotic flurry of retweets and viral edits to the intense debates among those who once staunchly defended Trump's every move. The cultural earthquake sparked by Chelsea's roast continued to shake the foundations of modern media. Her words spilled out like ink on an open page, rewriting narratives and challenging long-held myths about power, celebrity, and the sheer spectacle of modern politics. The reaction was as multifaceted as it was explosive. Traditional news outlets scrambled to provide context, while cable networks hurried to set up segments analyzing the profound impact of Chelsea's audacious words. And across social media, the meme machine was in overdrive, churning out images, remixes, and hashtags that immortalized every biting line. Even those who prided themselves on their disdain for political correctness couldn't ignore the sheer brilliance of a roast that was as culturally incisive as it was outrageously funny. In the midst of this transformative moment, Trump's own response was a cacophony of frantic, all-caps rebuttals that only served to amplify the irony. There he was, surrounded by a digital maelstrom of hashtags and GIFs, mocking his every feeble attempt to reclaim the narrative. Each of his panicked tweets seemed less a rebuttal and more an admission of defeat, a chaotic scramble for relevance in a space where Chelsea's words had already carved out an insurmountable lead. The spectacle didn't stop at the initial impact. In the days that followed, Chelsea's roast continued to spark dialogue. Talk shows dissected every nuance, political analysts debated its broader implications, and even academic circles found themselves referencing it as a case study in modern media warfare. It was a moment when comedy transcended its conventional boundaries, morphing into a potent catalyst for cultural change. In an era where information is as fleeting as it is overwhelming, her words stood as a testament to the enduring power of a well-delivered punchline. What made the event truly unforgettable wasn't just the impeccable wit or the flawless delivery, it was the underlying truth that shone through every syllable. Chelsea Handler wasn't merely insulting a man, she was challenging a system, questioning the very fabric of an identity built on empty sound bites and manufactured outrage. With every sentence, she laid bare the absurdity of a persona that thrived on its own self-importance, exposing the hollowness at the core of a brand that had long glorified superficial bravado over genuine achievement.
Ivanka was sold to us as the progressive voice of reason who would be able to moderate Trump's crazy impulses. But whenever he does anything reprehensible, she skips town. Like when he proposed the first Muslim ban, she went skiing in Aspen. When he gutted funding for Planned Parenthood, she went skiing in Whistler. When he fired James Comey, she went skiing on the powdery slopes of Mount Kofifi. Ivanka was supposed to be our Wonder Woman, but now we're just wondering where the fuck that woman is. And we know she's not skiing because it's June and also because her dad deported all the snow.
Her every word felt meticulously chosen, a blend of humor and piercing honesty, designed to disrupt the narrative that had for so long elevated Trump to a near mythical status. In her hands, satire became a scalpel, dissecting a figure who had relied on the illusion of invincibility to mask his deepest insecurities. And as the digital world watched in amazement, it became clear that this was more than a mere entertainment moment. It was a reclamation of truth in a landscape dominated by hyperbole and manufactured controversy. The impact was undeniable. Conversations shifted, priorities realigned, and for a brief, shining moment, the collective consciousness of the internet recognized that sometimes the most powerful statement is delivered not through force, but through laughter. It was a reminder that when someone as fearless as Chelsea Handler steps into the arena, armed with nothing but her razor-sharp tongue and an unwavering commitment to honesty, even the mightiest walls of ego and pretense can come tumbling down. In a world where so much of the discourse is marred by partisan bickering and empty posturing, her roast stood out as a beacon of clarity, a moment when humor bridged the gap between cynicism and hope. It wasn't about taking sides or fueling further division. It was about cutting through the noise and celebrating the kind of unfiltered commentary that reminds us all to never take ourselves too seriously. After all, when the stakes are high and the world seems to be teetering on the edge of absurdity, sometimes a well-placed joke is all you need to bring everyone back to reality. Now, as the echoes of that unforgettable moment continue to reverberate through every corner of the internet, one thing is crystal clear. Chelsea Handler has redefined what it means to take down a towering figure of political theater.
Is that Ivanka cut and pasted this opus together for her daddy. Because nobody on the planet needs this useless collection of gibberish more than that fat clown. For instance, on page 109, Ivanka writes, "Don't leave early or take time off. Too late."
She didn't merely launch another diss. She set off an avalanche of humor and truth that swept away the carefully constructed facades of celebrity and power. And while Trump may still be scrambling to form a coherent response, his tweets a desperate jumble of capital letters and incoherent rhetoric, the digital realm has already cemented this as a turning point, a cultural milestone in the art of the roast. Her words became a rallying cry, a testament to the idea that sometimes the best way to confront the absurdities of modern politics is not through endless debate or weary repetition, but through a fearless, unrelenting outburst of humor. Every meme, every screenshot, every impassioned retweet carried with it the unmistakable signature of Chelsea's unique brand of truth, a reminder that there will always be those who dare to stand up to the madness, armed with nothing more than a microphone and an unyielding desire for accountability. As the conversation evolved, it wasn't long before the cultural significance of the moment was fully realized. Commentators from across the political spectrum began to acknowledge that this wasn't merely about a single roast. It was about shining a spotlight on a phenomenon that had allowed style to trump substance for far too long. The irony was palpable. A man who had built his entire identity on the art of self-promotion, now rendered impotent by a performance that was as devastating in its humor as it was profound in its clarity.
Details of what happened when Trump's Attorney General Bill Barr told him there was no evidence of election fraud.
The valet had articulated that the president was extremely angry at the Attorney General's AP interview and had thrown his lunch against the wall, which was causing them to have to clean up. So I grabbed a towel and started wiping the ketchup off of the wall to help the valet out.
Melania also has to wipe things off the wall after their annual Mar-a-Lago penetration.
Every aspect of the digital backlash served as a chronicle of the times. Tweets ablaze with hashtags celebrating the roast, Instagram stories looping the iconic moments, and TikTok compilations that remixed her lines into a modern-day anthem of resistance. It was a collective exhalation, a shared moment of catharsis where the absurdity of it all was acknowledged with an irreverent laugh and a nod to the possibility of change. In that space, humor wasn't just entertainment, it was a transformative force, capable of unseating the mighty from their pedestals.
Was even more of a bag than we originally thought. We heard some truly insane testimony from Cassidy Hutchinson, a top aide to Trump's chief of staff, Mark Meadows. Cassidy painted a very unflattering portrait of Trump's behavior on January 6th, including the little bitch fit he threw when the Secret Service wouldn't let him go to the Capitol during the riot.
President said something to the effect of, "I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now." To which Bobby responded, "Sir, we have to go back to the West Wing." The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol."
And when grabbing the steering wheel didn't work, he grabbed the car by the
And while the political arena may continue to churn out drama and division, the impact of Chelsea Handler's verbal lashing stands as a reminder that sometimes a joke can be mightier than any policy or proclamation. It's a testament to the enduring power of wit and authenticity in a world desperately in need of voices that aren't afraid to call out hypocrisy with unflinching candor. Even now, as pundits and critics dissect every word of her roast in painstaking detail, there's a palpable sense that something fundamental has shifted. The rules of the game have been rewritten in that moment of incendiary honesty, leaving behind an indelible mark on the way public figures engage with their detractors. The spectacle has become a modern fable, a vivid illustration of how one woman, armed only with her acerbic tongue, managed to expose the fragile core of an empire built on bluster and bravado. In the end, Chelsea Handler's roast wasn't just a statement against one man. It was a cultural reset. A dazzling reminder that when truth is delivered with unapologetic humor, even the most formidable facades can crumble. Her performance, immortalized in digital memory, serves as an enduring challenge to anyone who believes that loud, empty rhetoric can ever withstand the relentless force of genuine wit. And so, long after the screen fades and the hashtags begin to settle, the legacy of this roast will continue to echo as a rallying cry for those who dare to speak truth to power. Trump's empire of empty bluster may continue to cast its long shadow, but in that one electrifying moment, Chelsea Handler reminded us all that the light of honest humor is more potent than any force of arrogance. When someone as fearless as she steps into the spotlight, she doesn't just break the silence, she shatters it, leaving behind a trail of clarity, laughter, and undeniable truth. Before the night is over, and as the digital applause begins to fade, we take a moment to let this powerful reminder settle in. In a world constantly bombarded by noise and self-promotion, let Chelsea's fearless delivery be a beacon of hope, a demonstration that real change, fueled by truth and humor, is always possible. Thank you for riding this wave of audacious truth with us. If you enjoyed watching this cultural moment unfold and appreciate the blend of fierce wit and unfiltered commentary, be sure to hit that subscribe button and smash the like button. Your support keeps the spirit of honest, fearless conversation alive and thriving. Until next time, stay tuned, keep laughing, and never be afraid to speak the truth, even when it shakes the very foundations of power.